Hello students, welcome to Trunkie Academy, and today we are going to study the topic which from the chapter that we are studying, why do we fall ill, okay, and that is chapter number 9. Okay. Yesterday we studied about the disease, what is disease, and how health is defined, and what are the different types of diseases, and then we studied about the infectious disease and how different types of microorganisms cause different infections. Okay, and we also studied about the some examples of infectious disease and how this infectious disease can be transmitted to other healthy person. Okay, infectious diseases are also called communicable diseases. So today we'll study about how to prevent this infectious disease. Okay, how to prevent infectious disease. So today's topic is the prevention of disease. Okay. Prevention of disease and how to treat the disease that we'll study today. Prevention of disease. Oh. So, like yesterday, I told you that there are different means of transmission of disease from one infected person to a healthy person. So, we must ensure that the infections should not be transmitted. Okay, we find out the different ways, and we need to avoid the infection. Okay, so spread of disease from an infected spread of diseases from an infected host to a healthy host can be prevented by, okay, the most important point is the maintaining and following the hygienic, okay, certain hygienic process. So following and maintaining, okay, certain hygienic process. Okay. So most important point. Normally what happens when the people are very much careless and they are not maintaining the hygienic process, okay, there is a chance of infections. So first point is that following and maintaining hygienic process. Okay, we can also avoid airborne disease, like if somebody is sneezing, like I told you yesterday, the droplets, okay, that containing the germs, the microorganisms that spreads in the air. Okay, and somebody is nearby, a healthy person who is not infected, and if he is inhaling the air, that germs will be may enter into the body of that healthy person and may cause infection and disease. So to avoid that also is an important step. Okay, so we can prevent airborne disease. We can prevent airborne disease by avoiding exposure to overcrowded or infected person or infected overcrowded groups or infected groups of people. Okay, and now another step is, now this COVID-19 in coronavirus, many people they started using the mask. Okay, because to avoid the infection, to remain safe from the infections. Okay, while inhaling the air. Okay, so using mask to cover nose and the mouth is important step. So using mask to cover nose and mouth. So there are 3 points I told you right now. The first is to maintain the certain hygienic process, okay, and the next is the avoiding exposure to the overcrowded groups of people or overcrowded area, okay, and also avoiding the infected person. If you know that person is suffering from that disease, to avoid that person from that is also an important step. Now, using mask to cover nose and the mouth is another third step, or third, by which we can avoid and we can prevent disease. Okay. So apart from these 3 points, another point is there to avoid an waterborne disease. To prevent waterborne disease, okay, so we should drink safe water, safe water free from germs. Okay, it means that it should be either boiled or purified with the help of the water purifier, okay, and filtered. So these are the ways to get the safe drinking water. Drink safe water, and it should be free from germs, okay, and it should be boiled or purified or filtered. Okay, so these are the different ways of now. Now another point is that avoiding public toilet. Because normally these public toilets are not hygienic, not clean, not maintained, so better to avoid, because some germs may be transmitted and person may get infected. Okay, avoiding drinking water and food from unhygienic places, unhygienic or dirty places, okay, where there may be chance of the germs or the different types of microorganisms that causes disease. Okay. Now another point that is very simple, and you must be knowing that always wash hands thoroughly before eating food. Before eating food. So these are the points that we should, and these are the this is a very simple point. Always wash hand, that you have studied in the previous classes also. is it? So avoid using personal belongings. Maintain proper hygienic habits. So these are the points, and these are very simple points, and you have already studied in the previous classes also. So that means we should avoid the infected person, overcrowded area, okay, avoid public toilet, avoid the drinking water and food from the unhygienic places. We should wash our hand thoroughly, okay, and especially if it is with the hand wash, then it will be good. And also we should not use the belongings of the person who is already infected, and we should always maintain certain hygienic process, okay, taking baths and also wearing the clean clothes, okay, changing clothes regularly, and also always washing or brushing teeth twice a day, and then bathing regularly, okay, and avoiding the contaminated water. All these things are the points so that we can. Now another last point I would like to add it here is that avoid using avoid using same syringe used to inject previous patient, okay. If somebody has already used the syringe, injection syringe, so that should be avoided, okay, previous patients. Now again another point is that even the blades, avoid blades, okay, razors used to shave previous customers in salons, okay, in salon. What happens if you go to salon, okay, so if razor or blade has been used for a particular customer, that should be avoided, because we never know, there may be a germs or there may be a microorganism, okay, or the person is infected from some disease and he is suffering from the disease, okay, and sometimes what happens when a person is infected with some microorganisms, that the symptoms is appears after some days, after some time, okay. So even that person is also not aware of the disease or he is going to suffer from, or he is not aware about the infection that he already has with him, okay. So that is the reason we must avoid the razors or blades or syringes that has been used by some previous person, okay. So this is the how we need to okay. Now another next the point and the important subtopic is that how to treat diseases, okay. Okay, so how to treat, if you are suffering from some disease, you are already infected, now we need to treat the diseases. So how to treat, okay. Now the next topic is the how to treat diseases, okay. Okay. Now the two ways to treat the disease is that normally what happens if somebody is suffering from the disease, okay, what the medical science do for treating the disease, is the two ways. So reduce the effects of disease. For example, if somebody is suffering from some kind of viral disease, or the due to which he is also suffering from the fever, like the chicken pox, smallpox, mumps, rubella. Okay, so giving some medicines that will reduce the symptom. Though there will be the microorganisms, okay, and infection will still be there, but to relieve from the uneasiness, okay, and discomfort, some medicines are given. That is the one way, okay, and to reduce the effects of the disease, there are some medicines are given. So though there will be some, there will be infections will be there in the body, but the effects of the disease will be reduced. This is one point. Another way is to inhibit the growth or kill the disease-causing microbes. Okay, so there are two ways. So number one, I told you two ways to control, to treat. Okay, number one, to reduce the effects of the disease. Effects of the diseases. And number two, to inhibit the growth or kill the disease causing microbes or disease causing microorganisms. That is microbes. Okay. So there are two. The first one, there are some kinds of drugs, medicines which will reduce the effect of disease. Okay, so this is not the actual solution or actual method of treatment, but since to alleviate the discomfort, the uneasiness of the patients, medicines are given to relieve from the, okay, to reduce the effect of disease. And another way which is more effective, and it should be done, is the important one, to inhibit the growth of microorganisms or the pathogens or the germs that is causing the disease. Okay, so there are some medicines, very commonly a group of medicines called what is that? The antibiotics. Okay, antibiotics, and you must have heard about the antibiotics. Antibiotics are the medicines or drugs which are acting against the microorganisms. They are interfering with the growth of the microorganisms. Some antibiotics, they are killing directly, or they are acting in such a way, some of the bacteria, the cell wall is broken. The cell wall is not formed. So when they are multiplying also, trying to multiplying also, since cell wall is broken and cell wall is not formed, okay, so they are completely then disappears, and they are not able to, and they are no longer able to maintain the infection. Okay, so that is another one. Now, in order to reduce the effects of the disease, medicines are given, like to reduce the pain or reduce the fever. Okay, and to some extent it is accompanied with rest also, because when people are taking medicines, okay, there are some advice along with the with the medicines when prescribed, so that also should be followed, like not taking the cold water, or not taking certain kind of food, okay, or not jumping or running, okay, or taking rest, okay. There's so many different types of advices are given, or not to use the hot compression, or not to use a cold compression, or not to eat certain kind of food. Okay, so there are some kind of advice, and along with that, some medicines are prescribed, which will, to some extent, it will give relief. It will give, and also it will help in reducing the effects of the disease. Okay, so the first point we say medicines. It is the medicines to reduce the example, okay, reduce the pain or fever, which is the symptoms of the disease, okay, and also plus following advice of doctor, okay. So these are the in number one case, okay. And now each kind of disease has its own microorganisms. For example, tuberculosis is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, okay. Leprosy is caused by Mycobacterium leprae. Typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. Cholera is caused by Vibrio cholerae. So all the different microorganisms are causing its own particular disease. Okay. So microbes, as I told you in the last class, or microorganisms are in 4 categories. Okay. So that means it is the bacteria. There are so many bacteria. There are harmful bacteria causing disease. Okay. Then another one is the virus. Virus is more dangerous than bacteria. Remember this. Try to understand. Since you are under the foundation course, so this is not actually in the syllabus, but you should know a little bit about this. Okay. Also, that bacteria causes so many diseases, and virus also causes so many diseases. There's so many diseases we observe, but viruses are more dangerous than bacteria because it is difficult to control the infection of virus. Viral disease spreads very rapidly than bacterial disease. And also the medicines which are discovered, which are there in the market and which has been invented and discovered with the help of the advancement of the medical science, okay, that is more effective, easily effective on bacterial disease, to control the infection of bacterial disease. But in case of viral disease, the antibiotics are very much effective, or rather than more effective than the viral disease. Virus is a very unique, smaller than the bacteria, and it is dangerous than a bacteria. Okay, so one category of microorganisms that cause the disease is the bacteria. The second is the virus, and third is the fungi. Fungi or fungus, okay. A unicellular fungus are there, and some other fungi that causes the disease, okay. Some skin itching disease, some other diseases they causes, and the fourth one is the protozoa. So I told you yesterday also that I'm now recapitulating again because this is the important point, and most of the students they are confused and they are forgetting. Don't get confused. Salmonella typhi, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, okay, Vibrio cholerae. These are bacteria and causing the cholera. This is the tuberculosis, then the typhoid and cholera respectively. Okay. So in case of virus, like you've heard about the HIV AIDS virus, or you've heard about the H1N1 virus. You have also heard about some virus that causes bird flu, and diseases like mumps, rubella, smallpox or chickenpox. These are the viral diseases. Also hepatitis, one kind of hepatitis is caused by the virus. Okay, so there are so many viral diseases. Okay, and that is more dangerous than bacterial disease. So there are 4 categories. Okay, so now just wait 1 minute. Okay. Now, as I told you, the antibiotics. Okay, antibiotics. Okay, this is the word that has been derived from the antibiosis. Okay, it has been derived from the antibiosis. Biosis. Now, when we say anti, this word, anti and biotic, 2 words. Anti means against. Okay, and biotics means the life. So it's not against the life of the person who is taking the medicine. Life of the germs, life of the microorganism that has caused the disease. So these medicines, these antibiotics are acting against the life of the microorganisms or microbes that is causing the disease. Okay, antibiotics. Okay, so antibiotics are medicines. Now I'll give you the definition. So this is important. Antibiotics are medicines that inhibit the growth or kills bacteria, or it inhibits or it will inhibit or kills the bacteria. Bacteria causing disease, by blocking the pathway for bacterial cell formation. Okay. Maybe with the help of the blocking of cell wall formation, okay, or bacterial cell formation, or we can say bacterial cell wall formation. There are so many different types of the antibiotics. Some affects directly on the formation or their reproduction or their multiplication, or okay, and some are affecting on the cell wall formation. So the cell is not alive and dead. Okay, so in this way antibiotic works, and finally there is not even a single disease causing bacteria is present, and the person is again cured with the help of this antibiotic. Okay. In example, you can see antibiotics block the biochemical process actually. So another point that you should remember is that antibiotics blocks the biochemical processes used by bacteria to build cell wall that protects them. Okay, so this is one of the most common way. There are so many in general. So many antibiotics are there. Okay, general. This is the general way where these antibiotics are blocking the chemical pathways. There is a biochemical process the bacteria use to build their cell wall. Okay, so that antibiotic, that chemical pathway or chemical processes interfere, or the antibiotics will interfere with this chemical process, biochemical process, and the cell wall of the bacteria is not formed. Okay, so that is so consequently what will happen? Growing of bacteria that the growing bacteria cannot make cell wall, and they will die at the end. So consequently, Consequently, bacteria are unable to make cell wall, and they die, and ultimately they die, Okay. So this is how the infection is controlled by antibiotics. Okay. But since we are talking about this in case of bacteria. So what about the virus? Okay. Antibiotics, they are normally and mainly we see that they are used to control the bacterial infections. Okay. In case of virus, it's not like bacteria. Virus has got less biochemical pathways and less biochemical life processes. Okay, so that is the main thing. They are these antibiotics. Okay, so many antibiotics are not available to control the infections of the virus or to control the or interfere with the biochemical pathways of the virus. Virus has got little less, I would say much less life process, biochemical life processes of their own. What they are doing, viruses enter into the cell, they enter and then they become the part of the cells. Okay, they act as a part of the cells and then they are growing. Okay, and they are using the machinery of the host cell for their replication. Okay, so that is another thing. So what happens in case of the virus? So virus, on other hand, have very less biochemical process. Biochemical processes are used by bacteria to bacteria as used by virus, not bacteria. Less biochemical process of their own. And hence uses mechanism of host cell. Now try to understand the point which I told you, that virus has very less biochemical process of their own. Okay, they have got only the body is also very simple. Okay, the nucleic acid is there that can replicate. Okay, and they can multiply by replication. Bacteria has got some different more life processes. Okay, so if by interfering, for example, we have got respiratory system, we have got circulatory system, we have got nervous system. Okay, so if one system is interfered, our life process, biochemical life process, which is respiratory system. So there is a neurotoxin and there is a hemotoxin in the venom, snake venom. Okay, there are two types, different in snake venoms or in different snakes. We find one is the neurotoxin, and in some cases we find hemotoxin. So if a snake bites and if it is a hemotoxin, it is going to affect the circulatory system. Okay, and the person will have a difficulty in breathing, ultimately die. So one system, circulatory system is affected. if there is another vaccine, neurotoxin, okay, which is present in some other snake venom. So if that snake bites which have got the neurotoxin, so immediately it will affect the central nervous system and it will switch off the system and then person will die immediately. Okay, so that means if there is a system can be attacked, but where to attack? Which system to attack? In virus. In virus, the biochemical life processes are very less as compared to bacteria. Okay, so they don't have their own biochemical life process. So what they are doing, when they are entering into the host cell, they are using the mechanism of the host cell for their replication, for their multiplication, and for their growth. Okay, so that is the reason it becomes little difficult to control the infection of the virus than the bacteria. Okay, so that is the reason the antibiotics are effective on bacterial disease but not on the viral diseases. Okay. So now, so antibiotics are effective against bacterial disease. And not effective against viral disease. So this is the point to be remembered. Okay, so when you go to higher classes you will study about this one. Okay, still, but there are some antiviral drugs has been discovered and available in the market, but not like antibacterial. Okay, so our immune system, our body immune system, body defense mechanism is important. It becomes important at that time. Okay, when our body's immune defense cell, white blood cells, okay, when they are producing some kind of chemical substances to fight against the virus, so that affects that fights effectively and that can control effectively, okay, rather than the medicines. Okay, so this was all about how to prevent and how to treat the diseases. Okay, and there are some more points that we will discuss tomorrow in the next class. Okay, so thank you for joining and listening today. Tomorrow again we'll meet at the same time. Okay, and we'll continue our discussions. And after this class, I will send you the DPP, like I have already told you. And when you go to your this academic booster, and you'll find the link called resources, and clicking on that, you'll find the link called writing material. So while clicking on writing material, you'll find the DPP. Okay, so you download the DPP of the topic that has been discussed today, and go through the questions and answer those questions and send back to us for evaluations. Okay, so thank you for joining today and listening. Tomorrow again we will meet again at the same time. Till then, goodbye. Thank you. Now you can leave.